I think you were careful not to truly lie about it. And I wonder about the soul searching that you had to do to go through that.
Yeah, it was definitely a kind of ethical dilemma to a certain degree. But then I kind of realized that it wasn't, in a way, because who doesn't want, ultimately deep down, who doesn't want a surprise party? And in order to organize a surprise party, there has to be some fibbing. I'll say fibbing rather than lying, because that feels more socially acceptable.
It's nicer. Yeah,
it's nicer and it feels truer. But for me, it was just like playing a game, knowing that the end of the game would be a celebration, knowing that the best, as if I could play the game to the best of my ability, it would give everyone the best opportunity to have an incredibly enhanced, joyful, fun experience when they go to a theater. And that felt like, again, a kind of thing that I was willing to sacrifice my integrity for.
One thing that I also love about it is, the inclusion of Tobey Maguire, mainly because now that he's retired from acting, he pops up every once in a while, but he's kind of become more of a super producer in the last 15 years or so. So it is like shocking when you see him back up on screen. And I wondered what the first day was like with the three of you. If anyone had to be like, Toby, don't look directly at the camera. You don't do that anymore. We're acting again.
like that gag reel in the Little Rascals at the end of the Little Rascals. Like, no, Toby remembered not to look down the lens of the camera. It was. Yeah, you're right. He took a little bit of a kind of sabbatical from acting for a while. Much to my dismay, because I'm such a huge fan of him as an actor. But yeah, he's been focusing on other things and producing and life. And it was so awesome to be able to be present for him being on a film set as an actor again. And especially, of course, in that character, because I grew up, idolizing Toby in that role. And he's such a huge part of that character for me, and just being a fan of him as an actor. So we had this amazing period of a couple of weeks before we started shooting where we were just kind of workshopping. We were just throwing ideas around of what the relationship could develop into, what the dynamic could be, what the feeling towards each other is, and when we first see each other versus when we part ways, like what's the journey of that. So it was just this incredibly, I don't know, ordinary, creative experience. Kind of, it felt protected. It was very strange. It didn't feel like we were doing this big Spider-Man film. It felt like Toby and I were really just working on a relationship between two characters, and using our imaginations and playing. It felt very, very playful, like we were kind of two friends, making a little Spider-Man short film and just going, well, wouldn't this be cool? Wouldn't that be cool? And yeah, I think he really started to remember, his connection to acting as well, his love of it, and it was as if no time had passed. And the first day on set when we were shooting, it was just like a first day on set. And they gave us we did the scene on the scaffolding when I crack his back, which Toby and I came up with. Like, we were like, well, we're older guys. Like, how do we express that? How do we express that connection of, I was like, I want to be very needy of you. I want to make sure that you like me and you're impressed by me, and that I'm like the younger brother to you that you never wanted, kind of thing. Like, I wanted to kind of be a little, monkey pulling on your tail going, well, what do you think of this? And what do you think of that? And so it was just kind of playful. We had a whole day on that scaffolding, just improvising and playing and trying things and finding out what the tone was and finding out who each other were. And then from then it was just incredibly fun. And John Watts is the kind of director that lets you roam free and play, and will be throwing lines and ideas and incredible, funny kind of quips and moments. And yeah, he's responding to what's happening in the moment and guiding things in a way that feels just very safe and exciting all at once. So it was just very cool.
And I read somewhere that you and Toby went into a theater to watch it.
Yeah,
how did you possibly, what kind of disguises do you wear? That's what I want to know.
Well, if Toby and I just kind of put on a baseball cap and wear our COVID, N95 masks, we just look like a couple of white guys, and that's kind of that. We're just two other white guys who like Spider-Man, and we go and we get our popcorn and we hang. It was really that simple. Like there was no moment where we felt like we were gonna get mobbed. It was really fun. It was kind of a sweet private little hang we had, and it was it was surreal. And I had never seen the film before. Toby, I hadn't, Amy and Kevin Feige had set up a screening for us that I wasn't able to go to because I was shooting. So Toby had already seen it, but I hadn't seen it. So I was seeing it for the first time with him and with an audience, and it was just one of those moments that you'll never kind of forget.